Hi, I'm Carol Schumacher with Asbury Investor Relations, and welcome today to our session with Steve Ehrlich of Voyager Digital. And we have 30 minutes to learn a lot more about Steve and the company and the work that they're doing and what they offer people today. Just about a month ago, Fortune tagged the crypto total market value at a little more than $2 trillion. The market continues to grow, and one of the companies that's contributing to this growth is fast-growing crypto platform Voyager Digital. It trades on the Toronto Stock Exchange, and the company is based in New York. So we're happy today to be with co-founder and CEO Steve Ehrlich. And you can also see additional information about the company on the website. There is a presentation from April that's available. So Steve, let's start off with your mission at Voyager. It's to replace traditional banking and financial services with digital assets. And you and I were talking, you want to make crypto a reality for everybody. So please share more about your business model and also how you differentiate from others in the crypto space.
Well, thank you for having me today. I appreciate being here. And you nailed it, and the presentation you referenced in April that we just put out in April says crypto for all. Everything about what we try to do is to bring the ability to trade and invest in cryptos to the masses. We think there's a lot more in depth behind cryptos than just a currency, as we were talking about. There's a whole infrastructure layer behind that. So, the background of Voyager, I started it with my co-founders about 4 years ago. The most notable of our co-founders is a fellow by the name of Oscar Salazar. Many will recognize that name as the founding CTO of Uber. So we got together, and with my experience of being in the capital markets for 25 years, decided to bring a really easy to use crypto platform to the market so people can actually download and open an account and trade in 3 minutes or less. And so by doing that, we're starting to democratize and bring crypto for all. Our whole business model is around bringing, multiple coins. We have over 100 today. You can earn some rewards on 65 of those coins today. So take like Bitcoin, you hold it with us and you can earn, up to 4% of just for holding with us. And so we're trying to create wealth through the crypto markets. And how we differentiate from the competition is the number of coins we have, our rewards program, our loyalty program, because we have a full-fledged loyalty program based off of the VGX token that's within our app, and trying to make sure that we deliver more products in a really simple, easy, and fast way for people to access. Everyone's on their mobile phones today, and they want to move fast on it. And so they want to execute trades, they want to see their balances, and that's how we bring, that's our real big differentiation point.
And Steve, we were talking about that there are still a lot of people out there who are skeptical of crypto. How do you convince them that the market is safe and that it's a good investment for the future?
Yeah, well, I think one of the main things, I always reference back when I give a lot of education, back to this iconic Oracle commercial at the 1998 Super Bowl, which they did and said they were going to be the technology infrastructure for the future on the backbone of the internet. And they called it a technology revolution. Now, there are a bunch of, I think one of the problems in crypto to get people comfortable is they think of it because it's called cryptocurrencies. And there are some that are currencies and act like currencies, like stable coins and Bitcoin, but there's others that are infrastructure. And if you take one of those, take Ethereum and say Ethereum or Avalanche and replace Oracle with those, they're the infrastructure of the future. But the value they have is they already have the internet built already. There's already 6.5 billion people on the internet. So, out of 8 billion in the world. So it shows you how deep the internet is. Now they could bring crypto and they could bring their blockchain technology as infrastructure for the future. So you're really investing into what is going to make, life easier. Businesses will be more efficient. People will be more efficient in their lives. That's how we try to educate and get people who are skeptical about it, that it's not just a currency, it's infrastructure. And when you start thinking about it that way, you're like, wow, I wouldn't have thought of Oracle in 1998 because we didn't know much about the internet. Same thing is happening here.
And some of the research points to the fact, Steve, that there'll be 1 billion crypto users by 2024, which, given where we are today, is not that far away anymore. So how do you view your opportunity in that competitive landscape, and what will you do to own a significant piece of this market?
Yeah, I mean, I think when you compare that 1 billion and how fast you get to it, in from where we are, maybe a year ago, there was maybe 150 to 200 million people that had it, and you're going to get there in 4.5 years. It took the internet like 8 or 9 years to actually get to the same billion. What we've done already in just 2021, we started the year with 40,000 funded accounts and 250 million of customer assets on the platform. We ended 2021 with 1.1 million funded accounts, 3.5 million users, and almost 6 billion of customer assets on the platform. So you see the growth. We'll continue to get market share. And we've started to see that in March, through the March quarter, where we added over 100,000 new funded accounts. And so we're going to continue that path. But we're only in the US today. So as we expand globally, we'll start getting more of the market share. We already have a wait list on our product that is in Europe that keeps saying, when are you coming to Europe? And that's going to come over the summer. But that's how we think that we'll continue to grab market share. There are a lot of competitors in this space, but not many who are bringing 100 coins plus to the marketplace. And that, again, is one of our differentiation points.
So I think in your materials, you mentioned you already have some presence in Denmark, and France is a target. Yep. Are there going to be other European markets that you're targeting?
Yeah, so the Denmark is a really interesting business we bought. It's a payment business. We've seen a lot of interest in crypto payments. A lot of vendors, a lot of merchants, a lot of payment systems, PSPs, all want to have crypto as an option to have their consumers pay in crypto. We think there's a really, there's a long tail on that as more and more crypto becomes, as we hit the billion consumers holding crypto, more and more are going to want to use crypto in their everyday payment world, especially Bitcoin and some of the other coins that are really more cryptocurrencies. So, that's interesting to us, and we're going to kind of build off that. Now, the French entity allows us a license to be participating in all of Europe. So we can bring in customers throughout Europe through that regulated entity. And we're one of only 2 parties in France that have that license. And there's not that many all around Europe anyway, that can really use that as the cornerstone to build out Europe. So when we get to Europe, we'll do it very thoughtfully, country by country, but we expect to be throughout Europe by the end of the year.
And one of the things we're talking about as well is the interest that millennials and younger people have in crypto. Steve, your research shows that 55% of Americans, if you're just looking at our country here, want to learn more about crypto. And most of those, 2/3 of them, are millennials. So how are you reaching them? How are you marketing your products and your company directly to them?
Yeah, it's something that we work on every day. We're very much a direct-to-consumer marketing approach, different from some of our competitors who have spent a lot of money on stadiums and buildings. And we take a different approach. We go straight to the consumers with ads. We do a lot of target marketing. We're continuing to grow that way. We think that's a really efficient way to market. The core of our marketing team comes from E-Trade. And so we've seen how companies can scale and scale fast, and different ways to actually scale the business through marketing. Now, the E-Trade days was very much a big brand play, but we've learned over time that, we think that the direct to consumers is a really efficient way. And it's showing in our numbers. Like, we get a return on customers. Many of them are within 90 days. We get our, the value versus our cost for customer acquisition. We get the revenue back in 90 days. And worst case, we're seeing 6 to 8 months, which in the financial services market is quite attractive. And so we're going to continue down that. We'll keep expanding our marketing budget. We're always testing different areas, because we think, as we get good in one area and we start flooding and we start getting accounts, competition follows, and then you have to find other avenues. So we recently just launched our whole video campaign about crypto for all, using everyday people in those ads, whether they're an iron worker or a harpist or an artist or a professional hockey player. We have all them in these ads to really show that crypto affects everybody, And instead of just using, brand people, celebrities, we're using everyday people in our ads and trying to get to the consumer.
And from a marketing standpoint, Steve, you've also had some sports partnerships.
We do.
Maybe you could touch a little more into the effectiveness of those partnerships.
Yeah, there's a few key ones that we've done, and we're really specific on when we choose these partnerships. The first one we ever did was Landon Castle in NASCAR, and our brand is on his car. He's racing at Talladega this weekend in the Dash for Cash. So he came in second a couple of weeks ago, his highest ever. And we have our debit card on the hood of the car. So it's really interesting as we use it as a play to get more people to use our debit card and acknowledge and see that we have a debit card. That's been very successful, hitting a large community in NASCAR. Then we added Rob Gronkowski. Everyone knows Gronk,
right.
The Gronk tight end, 4-time Super Bowl winner. And for him, to us, in partnering with Gronk, is everybody, relates to Gronk. There's so many millennials that want to hang out with Gronk, be Gronk. So we were able to reach a lot of people through his followers that really, put a lot of trust in Rob Gronkowski. And then the last one we did, two others we did, one was the Dallas Mavericks and partnering with Mark Cuban. Mark is at the forefront of crypto. So partnering with someone who's so innovative was really important for us. We had a choice of NBA teams, but partnering with Mark, and he's a great advisor to me. I ask him a lot of questions and he helps quite a bit. It's really important for us. And then the last one we just did was the National Women's Soccer League to get into the demographic we think is underserved right now and really teach. And we think those players are the best in the world, and educating them on how they can use crypto in their financial lives was something that was important to what we're doing.
Yeah, and I personally like hearing that you're also targeting women too. Although some of the other sports that you mentioned really do reach a broad spectrum, not just male, female, but of course, age differences as well. But so before I jump to the next question, I want to remind all our viewers and listeners that you can ask Steve a question. We're going to allow some time at the end to also take your questions. So if you have questions, please send them on in. But Steve, in the last few minutes, you also mentioned the recent debit card launch. You talked about how excited you are. You did a pretty good test among your employees before you actually launched it externally. Now there's great demand for that. I think you have quite the waiting list for it, and there hasn't been all that much marketing behind it. So what's the future look like for that particular product?
Yeah, we're still working with our two partners, UCO, which is our payment processor and program manager, and Metropolitan Commercial Bank, both public companies as well, on the final steps of the beta. It's been tremendous. The feedback we've gotten from it has been absolutely tremendous. And over the next few weeks, we'll start finalizing the beta. There's a couple of kinks that have to be worked out before we bring it to a waiting list of over 200,000 people. As you mentioned, it's a huge waiting list. It's almost 20% of our customer base has asked for, the funded accounts has asked for this debit card. And what makes this debit card unique is you get to actually hold in a stable coin, a USDC stable coin, earn rewards on that of up to 9%, and get those rewards all the way up to the point of swipe. Some of us actually remember the days when checking accounts used to have interest rates, and that's a long time ago. So, but I remember that. That I think is why another differentiation point for Voyager is a lot of us have been in the markets for a really long time. So we've seen products, and everything's cyclical. Things come and go. And so we're making, effectively checking accounts have rewards on them now that you get all the way up to the point of swipe. Not only that, you're going to get rewards back for use of the debit card. So, either 1%, 2%, 3% on that. So you'll start seeing us this weekend with the Talladega, and the car is the first foray into the marketing. We're working really closely with the bank to make sure that every, I is dotted and T is crossed before we launch to 200,000 people. But the waiting list is exciting. It's one of those products that is really evolutionary. because I always hate saying revolut. The R in there is just kind of a tough word these days. But evolutionary, that people want to leave their banks for us now. They're saying, I want to leave their banks from the Voyager, because you get a routing number, you get an account number. I've already in my testing put some of my paycheck into it, and it automatically converts to USDC. And you can get, soon we'll launch with that. Like all the other micro banks, you can get your pay 2 days early. So it acts very much like a banking product through our banking partner. So we're really excited about that launch, and should really spur some new customer acquisition.
Innovation is critical. I mean, this changes almost every day, it seems, the industry. So innovation is critical. You're investing a lot. You've invested a lot in technology and engineering. Can you share with us any ideas that you might have about new products that customers are looking for in the future, that would come as a result of your push toward more innovation?
Yeah, and innovation is a key word for us, because when you started and you said our mission is to replace banks and brokers, a lot of those systems are built on their legacy systems. So their innovation has to eliminate old systems and bring new. We're working with brand new technology in a way that can replace those banks and brokers because of that innovation. So in addition to the debit card, which we think is extremely innovative in the fact that you can actually use stablecoin, and now it gives a purpose for cryptocurrency in a stablecoin that you can actually spend it. We have an NFT platform coming soon, and we also are working on an equity product that will allow people to trade equities from our platform as well. We're partnered with, many people know, Market Rebellion, and really their two leaders, John and Pete Najarian, very well because of their time on TV. So we're partnered with them to deliver that product. But then the other innovative product we're going to bring to the market, probably by 2023, is credit products. So people hold crypto, they hold Bitcoin. We have over $1 billion of Bitcoin, probably $1.4 billion of Bitcoin on our balance sheet for customers. They don't want to sell it, but they want to be able to borrow off of it and use that cash to buy a car or buy more crypto or something of that nature. And so we're going to have some credit products that are either collateralized loans or credit cards too, so people can do that. We think there's some innovation that we're working on there that's different from others, and we'll bring that to the market in 23 as well.
Okay. And you mentioned NFTs. There's so much going on. What's Voyager's NFT outlook? And what can we expect to see in that area for the rest of the year?
Yeah, NFTs is the hot three letters these days. Everybody's building an NFT. Everyone, and I think there's a lot of value in NFTs. I think you'll see sports tickets, concert tickets, all be on an NFT. I mean, I remember the days when you used to take your stub and try not to crease it anywhere because it might be valuable, a ticket stub. Well, that's an NFT can do that, but there's a lot more to NFTs. It's all about communities and how you build communities through NFTs. Consistent with the Voyager approach, like we're not an exchange. We're very similar to the E-Trades and Ameritrades of the world, where we connect to 15 different market makers and exchanges to bring liquidity. It's the same way we're going to approach NFTs, where we're going to connect to multiple places so you can get the broad range of NFTs without having to subscribe or connect to every single marketplace. There's a marketplace being open almost daily these days, and people bring in their own content. We don't want to drive the content and build the content. We want to give people access to the global content, just like the global crypto market. That's our plan with NFTs. The first version of our product will be out by the end of June. And I've seen that the copy on it. I've seen the UI. Really exciting for us to bring that to market. But consistent with the Voyager approach of making a global market accessible, that's what we're working on with NFT.
Okay. There's also, we still seem to have a big correlation between crypto-related stock pricing and BTH price. How long do you think that continues for?
Hopefully it stops now, because I think there are certain companies in the public markets, especially miners, that should correlate to the price of Bitcoin. That makes sense. Yeah. They carry a lot on their balance sheet. They're mining Bitcoin, and as they expand their models, to mining other coins or being proof of stake nodes, that might change. For us, you wouldn't tie E-Trade or Ameritrade to the price, the volatility of Netflix. To one stock, you would tie it to the volatility. So I'm sure the online brokers had a pretty good trading day yesterday when the volatility of stocks are where they were. It's the same thing in crypto. When there's volatility, that's our friend. We don't take a position of we think Bitcoin's going to go up or down on our balance sheet. Now, we theoretically believe all cryptos are going to go up, especially Bitcoin and Ethereum. But when there's volatility in the marketplace, that's when our traders trade. It's a trading business, which means prices go up, prices go down. That's when you make your money and earn your revenue. Like I said, you don't see the online brokers getting tied to the spies or the Qs. They get tied to volatility and the volume, and that's how we should be thought of as well. Hopefully, we keep educating investors on that, and they understand that the more volume, the more volatility is good for our business, even as we diversify our revenues and diversify more into yield products and interchange on debit cards and credit products. But right now, we get tied to the price, which is not the right way to look at our stock.
One of the things that has happened occasionally in this space, in the crypto space, is the issue of regulatory things cropping up that you haven't been unaffected, let's say, by some of those issues, and especially in a couple of states. How are you dealing with that regulatory noise, Steve?
We take a view that we work with the regulators on this, and we understand, that every state has a different thing. Our business is largely unaffected by everything that's going on at this point in time. Customers continue to grow, rewards continue to get paid out. We can add new money, add new accounts, so it's largely unaffected. But that said, we work with the regulators. We brought Brian Brooks, the ex-head of the OCC, commissioner of the OCC, on our board. We regularly speak with politicians about, moving the ball forward on the regulatory environment. We speak to the state regulators about how we move the ball forward. This is uncharted territory. In a lot of ways, crypto and blockchain is new, and people have to be educated. And that's all part of the process. It's never going to be easy. It's that old saying, if it was easy, everybody would do it. It's not, it's not easy. And so we work every day with the regulators, and there's going to be bumps in the road. But those who persevere and help effectuate the change and the rules in the future will be the ones that are the most successful. And having Brian on our board really helps us do that.
So as you're traded on the Toronto Exchange, you're based in New York, you have Europe on the horizon. How do you deal with and set up and be ready to handle the regulatory issues that are going to cross borders?
A lot of lawyers. Just for clarity's sake, we also trade in the OTC markets in the US.
Right. You're right. Yeah. I should have mentioned that earlier.
No problem. No problem. I think the aspect as well is that we have a great legal team in-house. We have great outside legal advisors that help us navigate, but it's also it's incumbent upon, myself and our team to work with people and understand. And we speak to a lot of people about what the growing regulatory environment will look like in Europe, in Asia, in Latin America, in Canada, all those things. And you got to read a lot, you got to ask a lot of questions, and you do have to pay a lot of lawyers.
Well, I think there's not a corporation out there today that isn't in the same position. But let's jump back to your customer experience. You really want to deliver for your customers at Voyager, Steve, 4 things: simplicity, speed, rewards, and loyalty. How are you going to make sure that you keep that in the forefront of their mind, and that they realize that they're getting those 4 things on a regular basis?
Yeah, those are the 4 pillars for us. And it really, leans a lot more towards the rewards and the loyalty, as we have our own token that is embedded in our system. So people earn more, rewards by using the platform, and they get to different tiers, very similar to hotel points, to, whether it's a Marriott or an airline points, an airline's a Delta, you earn more by using. And that's how we build it. And we've done a good job of getting that message out. We're revamping our entire loyalty program to make it more advantageous for consumers and more engaging. A stat that's interesting to us is that the consumers on our platform are on our app somewhere between 8 and 12 times a day. So that's far greater than most online financial services. And we have to use that and deliver more service to them and more programs and loyalty programs for that. And so we're revamping the entire program to make it better for consumers, to give them more value for using our platform. It's core. Again, everything comes back to, we take a very retail consumer approach to what we do compared to some of our competitors who are exchanges that have to also rely on institutions to provide liquidity. Because of our model, because of our backgrounds being in retail online brokerage, we want to deliver the best retail product and consumer experience out there. And it's core to what we do. It's core to how we design the product. We added the debit card into the product and it's kind of seamless, and there's more to come, but always thinking about it from a customer perspective. And we're all users of our own platform. So how do you think about it from a customer perspective that says, are they going to like this? Not whether we like it per se. I call that the field of dreams approach. You build it, you hope they come. It's how do you build something they want? We do a lot of testing with customers, a lot of beta testing. So we're going to continue that approach because we want to build we think we have the industry leading product, and we want to continue to expand our lead on others on that.
So research is important to you in delivering that customer experience. Yep. How do you get that feedback from your customers? How do you do consumer research?
We have a whole team focused on that consumer research, surveys, calls. We show them some UI that we're working on before it actually hits the market. And we get the feedback, and that'll help us drive how the customers are going to use the product. And then we use data. Data is the other piece of it. Data is a very important aspect. It's not just when you think of research, it's not just, hey, customer feedback. It's how they're using the app. What are they doing on the app that we can learn from? And then deliver product based upon how the individual customer uses. I think as we get more and more mature as a company, that data will help us do a very personalized experience for every single customer.
The data that you're gathering, is the plan to keep that data for your own use, or is that potentially to share with some of the marketing partners like NASCAR that you were talking about earlier?
No, our goal, nothing's more important to us than the privacy of customer data and security and privacy of customer data. That's for us to help deliver a better product for the consumers. And, we have zero intention, I can't say that enough, of sharing that data with others. We're a customer business. We're a customer focused business, and that's core to any customer. We see everything that goes on in that's another industry, right? That's going through regulatory scrutiny. And we have enough on the crypto space. We don't need to get in that space too. So it's core to what we're doing is keep that stuff private.
And that's a great message for people to hear, that you're protecting their privacy, because that's becoming even more important today. Yep. So a very good message. I think we have a couple of minutes left, Steve. So I think one of the last questions that we'd like to cover and have you talk about is, what's the biggest misconception you're seeing about Voyager Digital today, and what are you doing to change that misconception?
Well, it's two things that we touched on, right? One is the correlation to the Bitcoin price. And we think that's an ongoing struggle that we have. And we keep, preaching that we're a volume business, we're a volatility business. That's one really important message that I can't stress enough. That look at us from what's going on in the marketplace. Look at us, really, really value us based upon our customer growth. Because I remember when people thought that Facebook had so many customers and they lost so much money, how are they ever going to make money? Well, you get customers, you figure out how you make money. And so our customer growth will drive that. The second piece is the regulatory overhang that happens on our business that, as I said earlier, we've had, we're continuing to operate. There's nothing, very little effect on our business as we work with regulators. And that's the goal, is to continually work with regulators to build what we think is going to be a very thoughtful regulatory infrastructure in the future. Because I know there's a lot of arguments about, hey, all this stuff is there is an infrastructure in place, but nobody ever contemplated, in the Howey test, which is one thing that always comes up, was formulated in 1940s. Nobody ever thought that technology existed the way it does today. So it's hard, there's a lot of rules that were in place in 1940s that don't exist today. So everything evolves, and we're at the forefront of it, and we're going to help create that change and that evolution in the regulatory forefront.
Well, Steve, I appreciate your time today. This has been a great session. I think we've been able to hopefully educate people, not just about Voyager Digital, but you've done a great job sharing a lot of information about the crypto industry. And I'd just like to remind everyone who's tuning in that the presentation is available on the website. And as a reminder, as Steve said, Voyager is traded on the Toronto Exchange and also the OTC markets. Steve, thanks so much for being here with us today. We appreciate learning so much more about Voyager Digital.
Well, thank you for the time today. I appreciate it.